flood situation across the country is throwing up fresh social and political debates ahead of the 2023 general election. Presidential aspirants, that's candidates, have been cashing in on the situation either for publicity's sake or to score political points over their rivals. While one of the candidates, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, has been visiting some states affected by the floods, the PDP's candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has announced his schedule in the coming days of his planned visit to those affected by flood. Well, the APC candidate is yet to make any statements on whether he will also tour some areas affected by the floods. Our Rice News analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi, joins me now to really take a look at this new development as it concerns, the campaigns going with the realities on ground. Dr. Amadi, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
NIMET in February had released those warnings, and as it stands right now, unfortunately, over 600 lives have been lost to the devastating floods in about 33 out of the 36 states in the country. But we've seen presidential candidates, some of them actually, one of them, Peter Obi, go around, and he called on others to suspend their campaigns as well in honor of flood victims. I want to get your thoughts on that call and the fact that we're seeing other candidates to say we're going to jump on this wagon.
I think first is that perhaps the candidates didn't appreciate earlier on the impact of this flood. I mean, you talk about over 600 and something people died, about 1.5 or so million people affected. We'll talk about about 1.4 actually displaced and 2.5 or more as at 2 days ago, affected. Now, if you look at the roads, if you look at, we had about outbreak of cholera in Borno State, Borno Yobe, and Borno Yobe has been most affected. Now, the point is, in election year or run up to election, you expect that this should feature on the plate of any political strategist. And the question is, both for self-serving purpose, political score, like you said, and also for real concern about the fate of Nigerians. Look, we've got letter from the king of King Charles himself. We've got support from the U.S. government. Several people are calling in because of the magnitude of this crisis. The question is, what should the president be doing? I think Peter be rightly maybe taking the tour. Yes, giving money is important. We also hear that Atiku Abubakar, I think, gave some money to Kano victims, as well as Bola Ashwaja, Ahmed Tinubu himself also did the same. But the key point here is, I think, three things. One is the candidates appreciating the impact of this crisis. Second, visiting. The whole thing about chief executive or would-be commander-in-chief is ability to also empathize at a grand scale. You have to engage the victims, go there, see what it looks like, get first-hand feel of this situation. We have newspaper report, we can send money, but essentially it's important for those who are going to manage the next environmental crisis to be on the spot, assessing what has happened, talking with victims themselves, speaking with the governors who are the chief security officers and the chief executive officers of those states, and who probably have better briefing on both the damage, the impact, and the system of resilience being built around those communities. So I expect the minimum we should expect, even if we don't formally suspend campaigns, we want to see those candidates right there, talking to community leaders, talking to victims, and also talking to the state governors. And if you think about 33 states of 36, it's virtually all Nigerian states.
It's scattered all across.
Absolutely. So you don't need to, you can start from the east, from the west, from the south, but somehow get involved with this unfolding environmental disaster. And because it speaks about leadership. You see, leadership is not just about technical, maybe sitting in a big office and making policy. It's also about engaging people. It's also about building trust and showing a sense you are the chief mourner. If there's death, you are the chief comforter in terms of making people feel a sense of belonging. So I think that Peter Obi's approach might be seen as a political gimmick because this is politicking. But it's actually the right kind of politics, because politics is about people. It's about, about selling hope. And so, like APC that has their logo as, hope again, hope 2023. This is also an opportunity to sell hope to the people by engaging them. Oftentimes, we do this transnational campaign. You fly into the big city with all the drums out and the flags flying, and you give a 10-minute speech, max, or 2-minute speech. All kinds of speech go on, and then you come back. You fly out again to other states. That's really not the kind of campaign you need to both ignite a sense of hope before the election, as well as have a true feel of what the people feel. So a moment of tragedy becomes a moment of real engagement, of empathy, as well as salesmanship. And I think that it's good that Atiku has agreed to, also get into the game.
Well, Dr. Amadi, beyond campaigns, 2.5 million Nigerians have been affected by this flood, and 50% of them are children, with even UNICEF warning of acute malnutrition, even, waterborne diseases and drowning of children.
Absolutely.
So this is a major issue right now. But the fact that Peter Obi, for instance, has been criticized for going to visit these flood victims with shirts that have the Labour Party on there. So some say this is also being used as a campaign tool by his party. And also marry that with the People's Democratic Party, the spokesperson Debo Ologunagba, here on Arise News during the course of the week, when we asked him about, what Peter Obi is doing. He says, as a presidential candidate or as a president, you should learn to multitask. You don't have to go to these places before people know that you feel what they're going through.
I think Kola is wrong. I agree with you that maybe Peter should have removed de-emphasize the party logo and party paraphernalia. That's correct, because you want to see it, you want to create a sense of unity. When we mourn, we should mourn together, okay? But Kola's idea of multitasking, that's not multitasking. This is the Debo, sorry. There's nothing multitasking about this. You just, look, when it's a tragedy, you have to be present. Executive attention is the most important resources for leadership. And oftentimes, presence is the biggest attention. That's why globally, when you see oil spill in developed countries, whether it's in the UK, US, elsewhere, you see governors get to the scene first. When you see earthquake in their states, they get there. That presence is leadership. So yes, you can sit in the office and put a call to the councillor or to the district commissioner of police in that locality. That's possible. You can read files, you can read transcripts from your on-the-ground reporters. But the key thing is that you are going there. You see, modern 21st century leadership is like a drama. It's like a television show. You just have to be present. The optics matter, not just for you, yes it does, but also for the people. So when you see a governor or a president, and that part of the criticism of President Buhari is his aloofness, a sense in which he doesn't connect to our grieving. And that's why oftentimes whatever tragedy is distant. And that erodes social trust, social capital. So that boy is wrong to say that you can multitask. No, you just have to be there. And now Atiku Abubakar is going there on the Tuesday, meaning that the campaign realizes, maybe late, that actually beyond sending money, which they can do, beyond you have to be policy, present. You have to be there. And the APC too has to be there. And so the question is, if look, we're going to enter into the 21st century, we're on the 21st century where tragedies, environmental crisis, pandemics, whatever, the risk vulnerabilities are too high. So leadership must also be an ability to understand how to manage,
to the
connect, and rebuild
of the people.
Resilience. Not just policy, human spirit is critical. And the president who is out there leading helps to rebuild the resilience of the people's spirit, the commitment, and mobilize common people to really take action. Community level, save themselves.
Absolutely, very important. Dr. Amadi, our analyst, I say thank you for joining me tonight on the program.